This episode of the SHL News is brought to you by the Big Chili Magazine, where in this issue there's an interesting article titled Interview with a 5,000-Year-Old Water Buffalo. So we've just finished off week 16, and we're joined this week in the studio by Lance, the goaltender for Aware. Welcome, Lance.
Hey, Dom. Hey, Zach. Hey, thanks for having me here. It's pretty cool to come out.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, as you guys may or may not know. I watch pretty much every episode.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So I'm glad I can sneak him in right before game time.
and then plan his game according to that.
Yeah, yes. Get the tips.
Use our commentary for some fuel for your game.
Yeah. You know, cover those rebounds, as Zach likes to say, and let in less goals.
I'll tell you what, Lance. If it wasn't for you, Aware would be much more worse off than they are this year.
I was actually thinking about that last night. Justin and I were having a conversation, and I propositioned, if it was another goalie in net, would Aware be losing as much? And for me, I would think no. And I think it's commonly understood that I'm the least best or the least consistent. Let's say that the least consistent goalie out there. So, I mean, I wondered, like, if Dream was in there or Ben or Leo, how would they fare? And of course, with Leo, they would fare much better, no doubt about it. But it seems to be such a black hole, this team.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get talented players, as you see, and they come to the team, and it just kind of. But anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I think that's. I'm happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
No, it's great, and we can add some more of that commentary after we do the game summary. But Dom and I have talked about this at length, and we'll get into that after the game summaries. So it's good to hear your perspectives, though, honestly.
And I'm hoping to see how deep some of those perspectives go. So
let's see. Game on.
Game on. All right, so in our first game of the night, we had the Novotel Spitfires facing off against Siam Mandalay. And wow, this was a bit of a shocker, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's really surprised everybody, the final score, the final outcome of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
The final score, the first period. The first period, by the end of the first, I mean, we'll get to it,
Set
but
the
my
whole game.
goodness.
Yeah.
It was.
Go on. Yeah.
I just was like amazed at Novotel Spitfires. They came out quite flat.
Yeah, really.
And they just never picked it up after that.
Yeah.
There was a really good pickup by my color commentator for this game, John Chiknowski, noticing that Christoph Anliker was missing for this game.
Yep.
And we speculate that loss in the blue line was really felt by them. This was compounded by the fact that partway through the first period, unfortunately, Ken Kindborn suffered a brief injury and had to leave the ice. So for a significant portion of the first half of this game, Novotel...
First third
of the game, whatever you want to call it. Novotel was missing two of their premier defenders, and it was felt.
That's a very good point, but you know what? Christoph's been missing how many games already?
Sure.
They did well. Of course, the loss of Ken, but that happened towards the end of the first. I think they were already up. And of course, you knew Ken was going to come back, right? You knew he was going to come back on the ice. And he did, and I thought that would light him up. And he did have a bit of fire, but I wanted some more fire, but a bit more Spitfire.
Yeah.
I think he was missing some teeth, maybe.
Actually, no, it didn't come out. It's still there, but... And you brought up a great point there, Lance, that for the first portion of the season,
it's true,
they didn't have Christoph because he was out with an upper body injury. Okay, so yes, they were missing Ken for a portion of the first period, and he came back in the second period. But when they lost Ken, they were already down 3-1.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Are they already down?
It was towards the end of the. It was towards the end of the first
period.
And so at the end of the first, it was 4-1. So I'm not sure.
3-1.
The end of the first period. It was 3-1.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, point being is that it was missing, and this is, as we've talked about, it's a team game, right? You can't just pick one player or the other and say, oh, the complete game is different. I hear you guys' points. In my opinion, the biggest takeaway I have in this game for Novotel is that very uncharacteristically, their star players were just kind of quiet.
Yep.
I'm normally each week I'm saying, Mike Friesen, I'm saying Tom Stastny, I'm saying Menkorn. Oh, look at them, they're getting a takeaway. Oh, look at that breakaway goal. And they had flashes of it, but it just really wasn't there in their normal.
There were some flashes.
capacity.
I agree. I remember seeing Dream. Of course, I think Novotel, they started off the game with the goal, I believe, right?
Yep,
Correct.
They
Yeah,
got the
they-
first
they-
goal was a
Short-handed.
short-handed
That's
goal
right.
by Seb. So.
And then I was watching Dream down in that far end there, and I saw him make some really good saves, actually.
Yeah.
And then Siam Mandalay, these guys are just lighting it up. They just went back, and then, like I said, I'm watching Dream, and there's like no action down there. All the action was down at the far end. I'm like,
There
what's
was.
going on here? I'm hearing pucks ringing off posts.
Well, that was
I'm hearing
absolutely in the
horn
first
going
period.
off.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the first
And
period,
I'm
absolutely.
hearing, like,
It was really
yeah.
surprising. So this has happened uncharacteristically for the SHL, just on a statistical level. In the past month, we've had about a half a dozen shorthanded goals, at least 4 that I can recall, because
Yes.
three times it's happened to KCG.
Yep.
This time it happened. I think it's happened to some other teams. But anyway, point being is it's
probably aware.
It's happened. It's happened. And so you've got this situation where, okay, tie game against the league leaders, they get a shorty on you. Man, that's going to take the wind out of your sails.
Yeah.
But surprisingly and shockingly, it had the opposite effect. Siam Mandalay came back blazing. So this shorthanded goal by Seb Verdy, who's had a really strong month,
Yes, he has.
comes at the 10:50 mark. Less than a minute later, Mitch Morrison scores, set up by Ernesto Bauer and Turner Johnson. Man, that crash line just really, really been the heart and soul, I would say, of that team. So productive.
They have been, yeah.
Then, only 2 minutes after that, again, scoring. This time, Win Khuhakaew.
The super sub.
Yeah. Set up by Captain Jordan Ashton and Ton Limpenpet. We've talked about Ton's real great evolution this season. He's
Well,
really,
I'd like to talk about Win here because he has played as a full-time player in the SHL, and that season that he did play as a full-time player, he was good, but he wasn't producing as much as I feel he should have been, and from because of what I heard about him. Whereas this year, where he's playing as a sub for Siam Mandalay, he's really producing quite well.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Yeah, and part of that is chemistry, I think, getting more ice time with these players and getting a feel for where they like to be and what you can do as a role player versus them. So definitely you've seen his game over the last month or so really pick up, and he's been almost a point per game player, I think, in the past month.
Yeah, you speak of the evolution of Tan. Now he's really beefed up.
Yes,
this
he has.
past season. Now he's always been a great player. I remember the first time I ever noticed him was the first season of the SHL. He took a shootout shot, and I'm watching the game with the guys, and I said, "Who the heck is Tan? Who's this guy?" And then he took the shootout shot and he burned the goalie. He scored so effortlessly, and I thought, okay, that's Tan. And yeah, so I've been watching him just evolve season after season after season.
Absolutely.
He's had a couple of breaks on me the last few times I've played him, and he's beat me the same way.
Is that he's learned you, or is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I played with him actually concurrently, BIHL, SHL for like 4 or 5 teams. So we've played a lot together. So yeah, he knows me quite well. In fact, Tan has played the most games in the SHL amongst the Thais.
Okay.
Yes.
He's up to, I think, 80 plus. He's almost like the most games out of all the players. Do you guys know who's played the most games?
Well,
Yes,
I was actually about to
okay.
give Dom a big shout out here. So fans,
Okay.
if you go to cmhockeyleague.com, Dom just set up a best of the best
Oh, yeah.
page of the history of stats for the league, and I was pleasantly surprised perusing this list that Ton, I believe, is the top point getter of all Thai players, and not only that, he's in the top 10, I believe, of total points in the league history. So he is one of these players we've talked about this. Oh my gosh, he's really evolved, but he's actually, just on a statistical basis, been a pretty consistent player, just in a more of a quiet way, I guess.
Yeah, well, he's played 86 games in his SHL career, and there's only one person that has more games than that.
Maybe we should
which
keep
is,
this a secret. Let the fans figure it out.
Okay.
We really want to know. Leave a comment, drop a like, and then we'll let you know if you haven't figured it out who has played the most games in the SHL.
I'd like to see if anybody makes a comment on that.
I'm sure some people will be curious, and some people will think maybe they're right, and maybe they are. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see who was amongst the top. Because I was checking out my own stats, because I wanted to see how many games I'd played compared to the other goalies, and how many penalties I had compared to the other goalies.
I think
if I'm going to win any competition, we should have a Prime Burger goalie penalty. I'm kidding. No. The only time I should have won that Prime Burger award was December, when we played one game, but they didn't award it that month.
They did award it.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Okay, then the shots weren't counted.
Well,
correctly.
no. Okay,
that.
here's what happened. The executive committee decided that the goalie award went to Alistair Fawcett for all the saves that he makes financially for the SHL.
That's wonderful.
The
all right.
offensive,
cheers, Alex.
The
Alistair, sorry.
offensive player of the month went to Zach, because
He's so offensive?
because he's always on the attack when it comes to commentating.
Okay.
So
he's always offending me, like, oh, Lance, you got to cover those rebounds, Lance. I'm like, oh.
I do have a good job of being a Monday morning quarterback.
Well, there you go. And then the defensive player went to me.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Because
he breaks up fights.
You're so defensive.
I break up fights. You know, I prevent people from taking
regretting things.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of burgers did you guys get?
I
like that Prime Burger.
Oh,
I really do.
So good. If you ever visit
so
Bangkok, Prime Burger on Sukhumvit Road, really close to Osok, it's a really quality burger.
And they've got another outlet at Prakanong W District.
Yeah.
So that's when I first discovered it. I saw those guys there, just right up at the front. I'm like, Prime Burger. These guys sponsor SHL. Definitely, I'm gonna drop some cash on these guys. And I've been going back there like many times.
I've only been there once, but
okay.
just because I have quite a busy schedule, especially at this time of year.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was really, really good. So.
Really quality.
Oh, sorry guys.
No worries. So getting back to the game, still in the first period, Siam Mandalay just continuing this offensive onslaught in a, what is it here, 4.5 minute period, scoring 3 unanswered goals to take the lead. The final goal of the first period, scored by Mike Wilson,
the assistant captain.
Captain, yep. Sub in the previous week, he had been the alternate captain because Jordan was away, so I really want to laud him on his leadership skills as well. But getting the assist from Ernesto Bauer and Turner Johnson again. So really, again, you're seeing that crash line produce. You're seeing a lot of balanced scoring from role players, from leadership on that team, and really turning the tables after Novotel picked up that early goal, and I think kind of shocking us all.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So, at this moment, because talking about Mike Wilson and his role that he's had in this game, I want to give a shout out to him because when he was a captain, he focused too much on non-hockey things, I feel. And now that he's stepped down and taken more of a backseat role, being the alternator, the assistant captain, his gameplay has improved, I feel.
Yeah, because as a captain, I mean, that's a big part of the responsibility is doing a lot of the, setting up your players, contacting the league, and like all this off-ice stuff.
A lot of off-ice stuff.
And that year, Mike was the captain. I was on that team, and we had a really tough go until we had Patrick Forstner come and bail us out.
He was captain for a season and a half. So because
he fell into that position.
He fell into that position because Zack Garofalo, I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
Garofalo. I called him Garf.
He decided he had a lot of other things going on outside of the SHL, so he wanted to step down, and Mike Wilson stepped up.
Yeah.
So, and that was for the first SHL Cup winners, Sport Corner Titanium.
That's right. Should have been the Spitfires.
Should have been the Spitfires, but these things happen.
Yeah.
So. It was a good game.
Before my time.
Yeah. It was a great game. I mean, the MVP Cup that year went to
Yoni.
No, it went to
Yoni
Donnie.
Oh, I thought you meant the MVP for the playoff, the final game. So you mean then?
So pulling us out of SHL history, back to this week's game.
I guess he wants to go home soon.
I think so. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just for getting on these tangents. It's hilarious. No, this is fun commentary. But
yeah, please, second period. Are we in the second
yeah,
period?
we're finally in the second
now.
period.
Okay.
Second period.
So Siam Mandalay's amazing comeback kind of surprised us after Novotel set the tone with a shorthanded goal. Continuing this offensive attack, just a minute and a half into the second period, Siam Mandalay with their fourth unanswered goal now. Darius Konotopetz getting in on the action, assisted by
What a beauty.
Tan and
it was a nice
Win.
goal.
It was a really nice goal.
Oh my goodness, he cut in. I think he had a guy to pass to, no, he didn't have a pass. He just only had a shot, and he just placed it perfectly on Leo's blocker side, and he just kind of put it up. And
Ben.
thank
It was
you.
on Ben. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other great goalie.
And he
Got
had,
it, yeah.
you know, statistically, he's been neck and neck with Leo, and some might say, if you look at the box score, oh, he had a tough game. But I mean, facing, what was it, 35 shots?
20.
Oh, I'm sorry, 25 shots. But none of these were easy gimme goals.
Actually, he only got 24. There was only 24 shots on him. So
Point being is none of these were easy goals. You know, these were quality shots, and really good passing, really good setup, and we're sitting. You know, oh my gosh, it's, you know, the start of the second period, and it's 4-1.
Yep.
Like, Novotel is in a really unusual position of being not just down, but being several goals down.
And then Ken Kindborn came back, and boy,
Immediately.
was he on fire.
Yeah.
He turned on the physicality a little bit there, but he also scored an amazing shot.
He was not going to be denied. You could see it was almost like he had an aura, like the smoke
like,
was
"I'm
coming off of
getting
his
a
fire.
goal."
You know, this inner passion he had, and he was like a dog on a bone, like just would not give up. And if you look up this goal line, Ken from Menkorn or Menkorn from Ken, that pairing, the chemistry between these two players has been really special to watch the last 6 weeks or so.
It has been, and it's really quite amazing because Menkorn has been playing a forward, not a
he
defenseman,
switched, yeah.
so-
Yeah.
But, and then Siam Mandalay answered back with
Almost immediately
with a goal by Captain Jordan Ashton, which is again assisted by Tan Limpepet and Win Khuhakaew again.
Man,
So
that goal, he even fooled me on that goal when he was going in. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. So after he scored that goal, I'm like, I'm remembering that one. I know he's going to do that again.
Play?
Well, he just came in, and it was so fast, but he fooled Ben, and he just took it to the side. So he's coming in from the on an angle.
Yeah, tough angle, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what he did with the puck and the stick, but he froze Ben and then just kind of tucked it in on the far post.
Yeah, I thought. Was it 5-hole? I thought it was 5-hole.
No, it was far post.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
It was
Hard to
fast.
recall
He was
all
so
these
fast.
goals. Yeah.
it was
I mean,
good.
Yeah, it was a beauty.
So,
Though.
going into the third period, it's 5-2 still. And once again, very uncharacteristic of Novotel, just a minute and a half into the period, another goal given up. This time, Homme, unassisted, was a really good individual effort.
It's Homme.
Oh, I'm sorry, Homme.
Homie sounds pretty cool. I'm
It does,
Not
it
the
does.
first nor the last person to call him a homie, but
No.
Homer. Probably Homme. If we're gonna
yeah.
get technical, but
Homme.
neither of us speak Thai, so please
This was a
forgive us.
really great individual effort by him, unassisted goal, and it's 6-2.
Tough. But then Novotel Spitfires just tried to make a comeback. You know, so we had
They made it
2
interesting.
goals by Major, which were really good.
Both set up by Mike Friesen, and on the second goal, another assist secondary from Seb Verdy. So they had a bit of fire back, so it's 6-4. They did try and pull the goaltender at the end of the game, and Siam Mandalay was able to notch an empty netter to ice the game. Mike Wilson getting the goal with assist by Turner Johnson. So just a really good top to bottom Siam Mandalay team win, I would say. You had good, solid defense. They're forechecking this game.
Their game is getting better and better every week at this time
It's
of
been
year.
really special to watch. They've been aggressive on the puck. They've been physical. Dream has played solid in net, and they're getting timely scoring from up and down the lineup. Tie players, the crash line we've talked about. Captain Jordan Ashton had a strong game. He actually won Player of the Game.
He did. Well deserved. And here I am with that interview with Jordan. Oh, sorry, there's no interview with Jordan. I apologize. I'm going to be interviewing him this week. So
We'll get that to you.
because there was a lot going on at the end of the game, and I just didn't have time to get that interview, but I'll have that for next week.
One thing I want to mention about
Sure.
Siam Mandalay, what I really admire about these guys, not only their grind and their physicality, but what I really am impressed by is I never, ever see any of them come out to shinny. Alistair came out last night, mind you, but
Right.
I mean, maybe Mike Wilson came once or Jordan, but these guys are busy. Of course, they're dads. Their babies are still young, and hockey's not the number one priority. But then the other foreigners, you don't really see at shinny. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall seeing any Siam Mandalay players. So I admire.
Just Alistair, who comes out every few weeks.
Really? Okay.
Maybe once a month. So, but
Yeah. So I mean, the fact that they can keep that consistency up, and that grind line. Every time I shut them down, I mean, I'm probably going to jinx myself. I mean, Turner Johnson hasn't scored on me yet. So every time I can shut him down, great. So, yeah, Turner and I, we played on the same team in the BIHL last year, so I got to download a bunch of his moves.
Turner was in the BIHL last year.
Yeah, he was on the
Okay.
old timers.
Okay.
Yeah. Darius would always say he's mopping up the ice because you'd always see him fall down and whoosh. And be playing on his belly sometimes. But anyway, great team, Siam Mandalay. You guys are looking good. So, yeah.
And in our second game, we had Aware, Lance's team, facing off against KCG.
I'm just going to ask you right out of the gate, Lance.
Okay.
What do you think the problem is starting the game? At least in
Okay.
the last 6 weeks or so. Because it's just been a really, really consistent problem that you guys have had.
Let's keep it clean. Let's keep it
Yeah,
clean.
yeah.
And there's no wrong answer here.
No,
it's
of course.
It's just
Well,
two minutes into the
You want
game.
the truth?
Each week it's been a goal against. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so...
Do you just have to get the bad one out of your system first?
Well, I think what it is, I mean, it's not the truth. This is just a working theory that I have. But I believe that Aware is cursed. Hockey players are a superstitious bunch.
I was just thinking this past
think
week, watching that game, you guys are snake bit. so.
Everybody wants us to win except for maybe one person. I'm not going to mention any names.
He who will not be named.
So, yeah, I mean, that first goal, do you guys remember that first goal they scored on us on their first shot? I certainly do.
I was
The
going to say,
power
it
play
was a
goal?
power play goal, yeah.
Yep.
It was a power play goal.
I think I was actually looking down at the moment. I'm trying to
Okay.
recall what happened. I didn't have a commentator for this game, and I think I was writing the stat, but anyway.
No, Murray was there, but what had happened was it was so fluky that the shot was teed up right around the blue line, and Brandon put out his stick to stop it. The shot was so hard it broke Brandon's stick, his only stick. It broke his stick, went off his stick, and Kim is attempting to block the shot. God bless you, Kim. And he's doing the Terminator pose, time travel pose, and it hits him in the helmet. And I guess it goes up, and I lost track of it by then. I heard it, ping pong, boom, boom, and or pinball, excuse me. And next thing I know, it's a swoosh in the net. Nothing but net right behind me. And I just let out a big F-bomb. and
And that's just the way it feels, huh? At this,
we're cursed.
Yeah.
We are cursed.
Because
I mean,
after that goal, you guys came actually quite strongly, I thought, against KCG, and you beat Leo a couple times, but unfortunately it rang off the post.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Leo made some
He made some
great
spectacular saves as well. Leo had a really great game.
Leo was the big difference. I mean, we can't blame the water because it was going both sides. That was a swimming pool out there.
It was
I got
this
hit
past
by a tsunami at one point. My glove was still wet yesterday. I mean, that was super, super wet. But aside, it is summer, and the kids are going in and out all day, as Murray mentioned, and I never see that door shut. Maybe 1% of the time I go to the ice rink, the door's shut, but whatever. It was a wet one.
Yeah. Equipment
and-
doesn't help. It's not always.
But Leo was the big difference, I believe. His positioning is absolutely bang on, and his recovery, his stance, his depth. He doesn't give up rebounds. I mean, if there's a rebound, he'll kick it to the corner or deflect it one way or the other. You know, he was making blocker saves, leg saves. But I digress.
It was, he had some very Lance-esque saves in this game, that's for sure. So
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I don't know if you want to get into that.
we'll get into that.
okay.
It's in the second period, but we'll get there shortly.
So yeah, first goal. So that was, you know, just
a microcosm of your season. No, and I think it's a fair amount of truth is you have to get lucky as well. Yes, it's playing hard, but you guys, what I'm trying to say is that's a piece of the pie, but there is the truth to the fact that sometimes you just are a little bit unlucky. You know, it's a game of inches, of centimeters, right? And for you guys, it bounces off this player and goes up and goes over and goes into the net and beats you. Two players. And for you guys, conversely, right, you finally beat statistically the best goaltender in the league, but it rings off the post. And that happened at least 3 times that I can think about in this game.
Yeah.
Just feel like you're a little snake bit, as Dom said.
We are, yeah. I was after the end of that game, I was thinking of the you know, "We Are the World" song, and I was thinking, "We are the worst, we are the least best, we are the ones we can't win a game, so let's just give up."
No, don't never give up.
No, I'm
Never
kidding.
give up.
I mean, it's just comedy. I mean,
Yeah,
sure.
You know, I'm going to play 110%.
Absolutely,
I mean,
you do.
when we were getting hosed by Novotel that previous games, down 6-0 at the end of the second, I think you might have heard me. But I was telling the guys, I was like, "We can still win this, guys. We can still win this." And I honestly
And he
believe
scored
that
2
we could.
goals there at the end.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, Ben is human. I mean, he's awesome. He's freaking awesome, but he's human. And so I thought we did stand a chance, but I think we all got to buy into it.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem.
That's one of the things I've noticed. A difficulty for Aware this year is they're not playing as a team.
And, you know, a funny fact I just found out last night, and let's keep our eye out on the next game, but I believe 99.9% of our players are right-handed.
Interesting.
So Justin was
that.
saying, you know, it makes passing a little bit more difficult. I mean, I'm not a forward or an offensive player, so I don't know. But he pointed it out. He said, you know, we got a lot of right-handed, Devin aside, and I think Roman, he shoots left, but we lost Roman actually. Bombshell. Not an April Fool's joke. There was an April Fool's joke. I don't know if you heard about that.
I saw that. Yeah.
But Roman is going back to Russia, so we're going to be missing him for the rest of the season.
Really?
Unless he's pulling a joke. No, he sent a message to the group chat today, so I guess you're hearing it here first.
Breaking news.
Yeah, so we're losing our only defense. So that's another problem, too.
Wait. You have Moo. When you
I was
have
gonna say.
No, but
not
Moo,
Tom. We have Tor.
We have Tor. We have Arnold, but they're not defense. They're put on defense. These guys are forwards.
Moo's a defenseman now.
Oh, he's a defenseman now, but he's not a defenseman.
Okay.
He's a forward. He plays forward, but because he's older, I'm like, I'll just put you back.
What about Tor?
He's also a forward.
Oh, see, I'm the whole time.
Played defense
Anytime
the whole season.
He's played defense the whole season.
He
but
has
anytime
played he's put into the defense position, and he's doing great. You know, he saved my butt. I remember one time you said, "Wow, Lance, what an awesome save!" But that was actually Tor.
Give him credit.
Yeah.
Arnold.
Yeah,
Arnold's
too.
a forward.
Arnold's but he's been D.
He's been D most of the
And
season.
So-
And unfortunately,
So that's
you lost Dennis to injury.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we've been missing Jaren. So Jaren, if you're watching, come back soon. I guess you'll be ready for playoffs.
Where's Jaren?
He's got an injury.
Upper body, lower body.
Upper body.
Okay.
I think it's the same thing that sidelined him last season. But anyway, he will be back. He's been gone for the last So he said, what's our problem? The last few games.
Yeah.
I think so. Missing Jaren, and so it's just so many factors. I mean,
Well, part of it also, and this is just an observer, again, take this with a grain of salt, but I see you guys with not a commitment to sustained puck possession and pressure. You guys spend way too much of the game on the having to counter back because it's a giveaway. You guys try these stretch passes, and they give up a lot of odd man breaks against you. And again, you've made spectacular saves, but unfortunately, when you're facing consistently, 30, 35 shots a game, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have a problem with maybe two-way playing or back checking, or we're an offensive team, not so much defensive, and
forgive me, I'm just going to call you out on that too, because you're a passing team.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we are so bad this season that even if we played ourselves, we'd still lose.
Wow, that's quite a a statement.
Just saying.
I mean, you guys have won before. You've actually beaten Siam Mandalay. Now, granted,
Barely.
This was a year ago, almost. Or excuse me, not a year ago, but in 2020.
Felt like a year ago. Yeah.
And it just, again, I've said this before, it feels like you guys are carrying the weight of a season's worth of losses with you each week, and it's like, oh, here we go again. And that just doesn't serve you. Like, again, I can sympathize. Like, we all love sports, and when your team's down, it weighs on you, but we alluded to the fact that we're kind of missing some of these leadership qualities. Getting back into the game a bit here, you guys were able to get back into it. Had a goal scored by Roger halfway through the second period, assisted by Masato and Tor. So now it's a 3-1 game. And you're feeling, okay, you guys, you got a chance here. Unfortunately for y'all, only a minute later, KCD does a good job responding. Poon gets another goal, this time assisted by Pan.
Which goal is that? The fourth one?
Fourth goal.
Fourth one.
Yeah,
Okay.
excellent goal as well. But going into the third period, it's still a game. You guys have scratched across a goal. It's 4-1, and I'm taking my mic off, trying to listen on to both teams to hear what we're talking about. And we've talked about before, like, you see the leadership on KCG, and they're talking about what they want to do, how they can be successful. And I listened to your bench, and it was not silent, but it was virtually silent. The couple guys were talking to each other and saying, let's not embarrass ourselves, ha ha ha. But there was no like, hey guys, like, this is what we need to do to be successful. Like, come on, we're still in this game. It just feels like, you guys come to the rink and in a half joking, but truthfully in a half joking, fashion. I've heard guys say, if we're not down 4-0, I'll be happy.
Yeah, it's John and Justin were joking about this recently. I think Aware's gone through the 5 stages of loss. You got denial,
Oh boy,
bargaining with the trades,
anger,
grief,
and now acceptance.
Yeah, we finally just
Well, in Justin's defense, he is very good at coming back in postseason. You know this. You've done it with him. So
Yeah. And I want to clear up a common misconception.
Okay, yes. Go ahead.
Propagated by this podcast, particularly.
I was bad, and we. have
You know
checked
what?
it,
We
so-
all believe it. It because it felt like that season that Justin won his first championship. That a common belief was that Hertz finished last, but in reality,
The reality is,
we snuck into third
you
somehow.
did. You got
But-
into third before right at the end. So.
But I understand why people think we did finish last, because we had a ton of goals scored against us. The games we won were, very minuscule. So the goal differential between, for and against was pretty great, and I had a lot to do about that or whatever. So, but yeah. So, Justin has a knack for
bringing his team together in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so.
and people say, Lance, you're a playoff goalie. Maybe, I think I do well most playoffs, and then tournaments if it's competitive. I mean, I'll bring it up a level, but not only me, the whole team does.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win, so we just kind of become cohesive. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know, during the playoffs, this might kick in with the whole team, and people will feel hunger. I believe we can take Novotel. We're discussing strategy on what we're going to do to take them down, because obviously they'll pick us, and if they don't, we'll probably face them in the finals.
No taking out any players, okay?
No. I mean, not intentionally. I mean, if they poke at me when I have the puck or something, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have to answer to that.
I like that about your game, is you got fire in you. I mean, you protect your crease. It's your home. You're keeping it safe. And if somebody gets in your kitchen, you say, hey, this is mine.
Well, when Winnie was poking at me that last game, I was actually out of my crease. But the puck was buried in my pad. Like, it had rolled into my pad, and he was poking at it. And I do not like that.
Sure.
And so I talked to him. No, actually, I didn't
I
say
was
anything.
gonna say.
My hand did the talking. He said, "Chill out, man,"
with your fists.
and I did after I retaliated. And funny guy, you know what he did is he took my stick and he threw it to the blue line. But yeah, we had a good talk after, and I apologized, and he understood. And unfortunately, he got a penalty on that. For slashing.
Yes.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. And that started the
Interesting
penalties. So I just want to get one more brief aside in before we finish the game up. So another issue I've seen with you guys is you had moments in this game to get back into it. You had 4 power play opportunities, including 3 of which in the third period, and unfortunately nothing to show for it.
They've got a great penalty kill. I mean, of course they're going to fire it down, but when they fire that puck down, they'll send a man down or 2, and so they'll be chasing that puck. So they'll put pressure on the defense, or maybe the puck will get stuck in the crevasse or in the crevice in between the boards and the ice or whatever. But they're aggressive penalty kill.
Yeah, I give them credit too, but part of it also again goes on to y'all. You had the same 5 skaters skating for the vast majority of this power play time, and I asked the captain after the fact, was that intentionally? He said, yes, I actually really wanted to see them out there, and I thought they would have the best opportunity to score. That was his decision, right? He's the leader. But it just felt like a lot of skating back and forth, and when they were in the zone, as we've talked about before, they do a decent job of cycling the puck, but a lot of this is just kept to the outside. They're not getting a lot of clean shots on goal. They're not looking for deflections or screens.
Really
or
struggling setting up the power play in the offensive zone. That's one of the things. They'll come down. One person will come down. He'll take a shot, and there'll be nobody there to back him up. And then the puck will get iced, and then they have to do it all over.
Or they just go along the sideboards, and I'm like, okay, guys, like that's a great cycle, but what do you have to show for this? Like you're not.
And then as soon as maybe the puck goes the other way, the other team, they're just gonna shoot it right away. Maybe they'll get a juicy rebound, or they'll score,
or they have an odd man rush on you, right? And again, like we've talked about, you've made some spectacular saves, but there's only so many times you can do that without offensive support for your team. So I felt like you guys actually played better in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I will give you guys
we outshot them.
You outshot them. You had a solid game overall. Just, again, we've talked about this in so many different ways. Snake bit, unlucky, it's...
And one of KCG's ways of scoring on me, I guess they figured it out, is, and you've called it, is the low to high, where they'll be behind.
They do a really good job of setting up and making you turn around, and then there's somebody there.
And so, they beat me twice on the previous game we played them, and then they beat me once on the last game. And then another time they beat me in odd man rush. It was a beauty pass. I thought I had covered the net because I was stopping a lot of these 2-on-1s or whatever. But that one, they did get me. And then Peen, he had a laser of a shot for that second goal. I should have come out a little bit more aggressively on the crease, but I was worried if I come out, then maybe he'll pass it to the guys, and I just... it was an excellent goal. And all of them were wonderful.
Yeah, none of these were gimmies.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, KCG, I think these guys are a contender. Somebody pointed out on the Facebook page, SHL Facebook page, that Harrison is yet to win a cup. And I think whoever did that was trying to light a fire under Harrison.
He hasn't been on a team that's won a cup. That's true.
Yeah.
So,
though he is the point, as we discussed, he is the SHL point leader in total points scored of any individual.
Yeah. Well, he's got the benefit of 4 seasons. So I mean, if Jan Isaacson,
he's not the only one.
I was going to say we've already mentioned there's one player who's above Tan in total games played, and he's behind Harrison as well. Part of it might be having to do with his teammates, but who knows? But I'm just joking.
No,
so,
it's
for his 2-goal, 1-assist performance, Poon won Player of the Game this week for KCG, and Dom had that interview.
I'm here with the Rolling Stone Pizza Player of the Game, Poon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, that was such a fast-paced game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like, the time the league has been going on, maybe a couple months, really got it. Our guys really got the teamwork going, and the flow was there. And it gave us an intense, fast game. It was fun. Yeah.
And so you had it was a 5-1 win.
Yeah. I mean, the last one was an empty netter, so it maybe didn't technically count as. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
And here's Maddie with the Jerky Monster Play of the Week.
What is up, my fellow SHL enthusiasts? This week's Jerky Monster Play of the Week goes to Leo for his diving save across the goal in the second period. Great save, Leo. Your Jerky Monster's waiting for you with Dom. See you guys next week.
So our Prime Burger Players of the Month for our offensive player, that went to Thomas Stasny. He had an amazing month.
Overtook Mike Friesen as the league leader in points.
Yes, he did.
Huge. What was it? 6-point game. 6-point game, and sorry.
You know what? He was even like helping out, like screening me too. There's a couple of goals they scored where he didn't touch it or tip it, but he's in front of me. He's got that big body.
Yeah.
And they're shooting it, and I can't see a thing. So his presence, not only passing. I don't think he scored that game. He thought he scored that game, but fortunately for the replays, and I was confident it didn't cross the line. I suggested, no, I stopped it, but whatever. Yeah, we're so blessed to have this talent in our league. I wish I was on his team.
He's a great player, not just point-wise. He wins face-offs. He back-checks, as you just alluded to. He does a lot of this hockey plays that not only is he talented, he's got the hockey IQ, and he makes people around him better.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I remember one Chinny, he came out, and just the way he's dishing that puck, everybody's play was elevated with him on the ice.
Yeah, definitely.
Well-deserved award. Congratulations, Thomas.
And our Defensive Player of the Month went to Mike Wilson. Again, well-deserved. He had an amazing month. Offensively, defensively, stepping up into the captain's role.
Yep.
So and this is his first award all year, which is surprising.
Really?
Yeah. He hasn't gotten the Jerky Monster. He hasn't gotten a Rolling Stone Pizza Player of the Game. Nothing yet.
So I think well-deserved win. And goaltender of the month went to Dream. Jokes.
Dream on.
Yeah, well.
He had a
Dream. What a month. Beating the league leaders in convincing fashion. Really consistent, really solid play from Dream, along with the rest of the Siam Mandalay squad, has really gotten better week to week.
Yeah, that shootout performance. I can't remember how many shots they went into.
3 each, I believe.
3 each. Yep.
But yeah, that was very intense, and Dream was shutting them down.
And the only shutout of the season.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So far.
So far,
Lance.
right?
You know what? I mean, again, I'm gonna jinx myself, but I've managed to get a shutout every season that I've played, and a blowout. So I've already been blown out twice.
What is the definition of a blowout?
A blowout is so whenever we play Novotel and they hose us like 9-2 or 9-1.
I remember one
like
season. The season you won the playoff MVP.
Yeah.
You lost a game to Expedia, and Jordan scored 6 goals in that game.
He did.
That was
within
11-1.
Yeah, within a very short time frame too. Nobody decided to cover him. Like, just let him skate. Let him just whatever. He's just too good. Yeah, Jordan. That was a performance that we'll never see again in the SHL. Somebody had said. Yeah. Right after he scored that last one. But yeah, that was a phenomenal performance by Jordan Ashton.
So going into our 17th week, which will be on April 18th. This is our last of the COVID makeup games.
Okay.
In our first game of the night, we have Siam Mandalay versus Aware.
All right. You guys are going down. You heard that here first. Well, you probably heard it here before, or somewhere before, but
I don't think
Look
we've
out.
predicted that you guys would take anybody down.
Okay. I'm taking.
We hope.
Just so
We
you know,
hope.
we hope.
We hope.
We hope each week. We talk about the positives. We say, hey guys, you can do it. But
Yeah.
you know,
What does your team need to do to pull off a win against
Okay.
Siam
Well,
Mandalay,
I got to
in your
stop
opinion?
all the goals. I got to get that elusive shutout.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, I got to stop all the shots. Primarily, that would be the number one thing to do: not let in any goals. Siam Mandalay,
you need to
their
score
bread
goals
and
too.
butter. Yeah, their bread and butter is picking up rebounds and popping them in.
Grinding,
and as Zach has mentioned, I gotta have more control on that puck, especially with those guys floating around the net.
Yeah.
And I've been able to keep Turner off the scoreboard, but Mitch, what's his name?
Mitch Morrison,
Mitch Morrison.
Ernesto Bauer, Darius
Darius
Konotopetz.
Konotopetz.
That's
Darius
really
is a tough
Darius-
one.
That's really tough.
He is so aggressive.
Yes,
And we
he
haven't
is.
mentioned any of the Thai players too. I mean, the Thai line on
Yeah.
that team, centered by Tan, with wingers Non and Homme, they've played really, really well. Captain Jordan Ashton is always going to be a presence, and then defensively, man,
Alex Phelps,
Alex
Mike
Phelps,
Wilson.
Mike Wilson, Yeen, one of the
Yeen,
hardest shots in the league.
And he hasn't relied on that hard shot this year as much as he has in the past. He's
Sure.
pulling out moves, and it's
Yeah.
fun to watch him play.
Yeah, and I
Defensively
think
as well, he's really
Yeah.
picked up his game.
I think no, that's fine. That's fine. I think Yeen too. He gets banged around a bit. He's. I think he might be coming off a few injuries that could be slowing him down. His goal scoring seems to be a little bit less this year.
Well, he's playing a more physical game and a more defensive game
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah, he's always a threat. Every time he gets that puck, he can shoot it from anywhere. And I think one of the last games I played against him, he shot it from around his own blue line and put it on the net. Almost scored on me. So yeah. But so what do we got to do? So I gotta shut him down, and then we gotta at least get one goal, at least. And
if you shut it out, yes, that would do
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So that would be great. That's our another big weakness. Not only my inconsistency in the net with my acrobatic old school style. It doesn't lead to consistency at all. So we also need to just put a few in the net. Unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of goal scorers. Said time and time again, on paper, we look great, but it's just a piece of paper. Paper, used to be a tree. Anyway,
Sure. No,
Yeah.
I think all the things you've said are, like we've talked about before, is, you need to stop having these separate parts.
Yeah.
It needs to come together as a team, and we're hoping to see it happen, and you're going to have two cracks at it. A quirk of our schedule, as we've talked about, we're going to have back-to-back weeks of the same matchups, so you guys will have two knocks at Siam Mandalay.
yeah. And I liked how John Sheknowski looked last week. He seemed to have an elevated step in his game. The way he was flying around out there, he wasn't able to put it in, but he looked more dangerous than usual this season. So
Maybe it's all the
hopefully,
tennis.
I think so.
yeah.
Possibly.
Well, he's in the best shape of his life now.
He looks it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 50 years old. I wish he'd come out to shinny more often, or maybe do a little bit more warm up. But whatever. He's gonna. I think, come playoff time, that competitiveness in him is gonna just boil over, and I believe, I'm calling it now, that he'll be a force to be reckoned with, and he's gonna reestablish himself as
Okay.
the goal scorer that he once was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In our nightcap, we're going to have KCG facing off against the Novotel Spitfires. I'm really excited for this one just because the games over the last month between these two have been really exciting. They've gone down
Back
to the
and
third
forth
period,
and-
gone back and forth. So should be a lot of fun to watch. And we get a double helping 2 weeks in a row, so I'm really excited. Now, an interesting quirk about all this, we're assuming that Novotel, Captain Mike Friesen, will pick you guys as the opponent for the
Yeah.
first round of the playoffs.
Of course.
So-
they should.
Well, there you go. But an interesting quirk of all this, because we have our Songkran break, and then we have this, because of COVID, back-to-back weeks of the same team, it's going to be about 2 months, or at least 6 weeks, between the last time that you will have faced Novotel
Okay.
and Siam Mandalay will have played KCG before you guys play in the opening round of the playoffs.
Okay.
So I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but I'm just thinking ahead. Like, this could be an interesting storyline going in, that you guys are not going to have seen your opponent for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I believe that will be a factor one way or the other. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope the team can come together and our game plan is effective and we can take them down as well.
So, who do you predict will win the KCG Novotel Spitfires game this week?
KCG and Novotel. Well, so you got the two hottest goalies in the league.
Yeah.
And then you got the most defensive teams in the league, too. This is a really tough call. So, I mean, it's a flip of the coin, really. But I think KCG's got momentum going, and I believe that they will be the difference, and they'll come out on top.
Okay.
Novotel finally has stumbled, really. They've lost 2 of 3.
Yeah.
Sandwiching a blowout against y'all, forgive me, with 2 tough losses to first KCG and then this past week to Siam Mandalay. So I'm also interested to see how the leadership, Mike Friesen, and the rest of that team comes out this week, on the 18th.
Next game,
in response to that.
They'll come out hard, but I mean, again, they're shooting on Leo.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
an easy task. I mean,
they've been great games.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like Ben, Leo is human, but these two are in a league of their own, and so I believe that Novotel's not going to roll over, and they're going to get a lot of shots. And
I think the biggest thing for the Novotel Spitfires this last game against Siam Mandalay, nobody has played them as physically as Siam Mandalay played them in this last game.
And they were very vocal about it.
They were so off their game. So
angry, yeah, you could see it.
I think Mike Friesen is going to fire up his team.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a completely different Novotel Spitfires coming out on the 18th.
Okay.
I think they're going to be a bit faster. They're going to be a bit more physical. They're going to be like, this is it.
Yeah.
So
this is our gear up to the playoffs.
So you're saying Novotel's going to win?
I think Novotel's going to win it.
Okay.
So I got to pick the Spitfires.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's a fair play because KCG, it's going to be about a month since they've played Novotel. And Harrison's going to get his team fired up as well. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to go down to the third period. It's probably going to be a 1-goal game. So, but I think you're right. I see Friesen and the rest of the leadership on that Novotel squad coming ready to play and eking out the victory. And then an interesting rematch the following week we'll see. So, looking forward to it.
All right, that's all for this week. We'll see you at the rink.
At the rink.
Almost had it.
I know. I missed it on purpose.
The opposite was very strong. I was good.
Siam Hockey League News is brought to you by Big Chili Magazine, the best read expat lifestyle and news magazine in Thailand. It covers interesting issues in Bangkok and the region while bringing its readers engaging stories and various exclusive interviews, food reviews, and more. You can find the Big Chili magazine in bookstores and online at thebigchili.com. The music for the opening and ending credits are brought to you by DJ Caucasian.